When we're already back here, whenever you are.
You're muted, Gwen.
Well, I am muted. I was going to say, if Sandra has her baby with her, does that create a quorum?
As long as him screaming counts as some public comments.
Very good. Awesome.
Getting a tooth in, so it doesn't, I don't think it feels too good.
Well, we need bodies, so I'll take little ones too. Okay. All righty, I will call administration and finance to order. It is August 25th, 2021. We are still meeting virtually. So if you want to join our meeting virtually and provide public comment, you can go to the city website, click on meetings, and go to the administration and finance agenda for today. And there's a link there to join the meeting. You can also provide public comment in other venues. You can leave us a voicemail at 552-6012, and you can always email us at council@ci.missoula.mt.us. So we welcome public comment. All righty, and if you could do a roll call, we'll see if we have a quorum at this point. We do have a lot of absences today for various reasons, but we'll see how many we have.
Okay. I need to just go to roll call here. Okay, Stacy Anderson.
Present.
Mirta Becerra.
Absent.
Absent. John Contos.
He's absent.
All right. Heather Herb. Looks
Not
like he's
sitting.
absent. Jordan Hess.
Present.
Well, it looks like Heather just arrived.
Okay, great.
Gwen Jones.
Present.
Julie Merritt.
Present.
Jesse Ramos.
He's absent today.
Today. Amber Sherrill.
And she's absent.
Sandra Vasica.
Present.
Brian Von Losberg.
Absent.
Absent. And Heidi West.
And she's absent today.
Absent. Okay, so we have
I think
we have 6 members present.
Okay, we have 6 members and we do not have a quorum. I'm not sure if we get anyone else, but we will just note that for the record that we do not have a quorum. And
Okay.
we have minutes from August 18th, 2021. Were there any changes to those minutes? Seeing none, those will stand approved. And as I said, noting that we do not have a quorum, and I'm calling for public comment on items not on the agenda. And I see no one in the waiting room. So no public comment. All righty, so today we have 3 items on our agenda, and Marty, I see that you're here on 3.1 and 3.2, and they, having read them, they certainly seem to overlap. So do you just want to do both of those, present on both, and then we'll take public comment and questions? Does that work for you? You're muted.
That works great. This, in fact, that's how I structured my PowerPoint presentation. So here we go. I'm going to share my screen. All right. Can everyone see? Alrighty. I'm here to present the city's annual hazardous vegetation and sidewalk snow removal assessments. So this is a complaint-driven process for the city of Missoula, and it is administered by Community Planning Development and Innovation, affectionately known as CPDI. When the city receives a complaint about either too tall of hazardous vegetation or snow that needs to be removed or ice that needs to be removed from a sidewalk in the wintertime, We send notices, we being CPDI, send notices out to the relevant property owners and let them know that we've received a complaint and there's a timeline in that notice. And so if property owners don't complete that work within the timeline, then we have city contractors dispatched to do it. And the property owners receive an invoice. And if they don't pay the invoices, then the city assesses the bill on taxes in accordance with state law and city law. Just recently, last month, CBDI sent out follow-up letters and invoices to property owners that I'm going to that are listed in the exhibits for these resolutions to give them another opportunity to pay prior to assessment. We did give them an opportunity to reach out to us prior to Monday night's council meeting. So I'll be checking in with CPDI to see if we can ameliorate any of these assessments prior to sending them over to the county to be placed on tax bills. This year, we have $998.50 worth of hazardous vegetation that was cut last summer in 2020. And snow and ice was removed from sidewalks last winter in the amount of $902.25, not $902,000. And so if these expenses aren't levied, there is a shortfall in city budget for these programs that's covered by the general fund taxpayer of the city. So the recommended motions for council today are to adopt both of these resolutions, and I am here in case you have any questions.
Great, thank you. All right, Heather, questions?
Thanks. Sorry, Marty, I was wondering if you could tell us what we charge at an hourly rate on these particular services that we send staff out to.
We charge the hourly rate that the contractor charges us. So it's a direct pass through. There is an administrative fee that is charged to the property owner. And I think that information is on the spreadsheet that Kirsten prepared. But if not, I can get that for you after the committee meeting. But
that's sufficient, Marty. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we were charging a fair price and it was being passed along, and then we have our administrative fee on top of that. So that's all in good order for my liking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Sandra?
Thanks. Heather actually asked one of my questions, so thanks for that. And if it's like an elderly couple that can't shovel their sidewalk, and then they, something happens and they just miss it out, like, is there relief for them, or is it just regular property, like the property tax relief program?
That's a good question, Sandra. It's my understanding that if there was an issue in the past with enforcement and it was somebody who was elderly and couldn't clear their walks, that CBDI did work with them. Actually, I think in the past, we actually had staff who went out and did it. But I can check on that for you prior to Monday's meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. That's a great point you raised, Sandra. And we have talked about this in years past. I wanted to add in, my understanding is that staff does work with the property owners, and there are some volunteer services in town. They refer them to them. They try and do everything to fix the situation. And I'm not sure if everyone had a chance to look at the assessments because it's pretty interesting. Under sidewalk snow removal, there were 89 complaints, 36 of which were confirmed. So in other words, sometimes a neighbor's calling in, and even before the city gets out there, it gets cleared. Then the violations that were resolved by property owners, of the 36, there were 29 where the property owners were able to fix it. And so only 7 where the city wound up doing it. So, and it's kind of similar numbers under hazardous vegetation too. So sometimes people just need either a little prod or motivation or help finding resources out there. So this, by the time it gets to this point, it's usually pretty minimal. But yeah, and honestly, I will say that in Ward 3, which is a big walking ward, the issues I've seen over the last 6 years tend to be young folks who are renting a house. not the older folks, it's the young. So a little bit of a neighborhood education going on there that yes, if you have a house, you got to clear the sidewalk every day. I remember talking to one young man who said, well, I guess I could do that. And I'm like, yes, you can, as I had knocked on his door. Julie Merritt.
On that note, Gwen, I really would like to see more landlords provide their renters with snow shovels. Like that should be a no-brainer. And the same goes with lawnmowers and things to take care of the yards. Because if you're a renter and like having to shell out for those items that are needed to take care of the house that you're renting from is I wish that we had a lever to make that happen. To Sandra's question, there's a responsibility in owning a property. And I understand that there's all kinds of circumstances that people are under that make it difficult or impossible for them personally to shovel their sidewalks or take care of their yards. But as a homeowner, that's a responsibility. Is if you can't physically do it yourself or don't have the time or whatever, that you find a way to make it happen, because that is part of the responsibility of owning a home and living in a community where you have a sidewalk that's in front of your house that other people use. And I'm just shocked at the type of people that you will have sympathy for, quite frankly, and others that you won't. It doesn't seem very consistent.
All right, and in terms of just general community education, also in Ward 3, because we have a university, we have the University Ambassador Program, and they do loan shovels out to students in the neighborhood. I'm not quite sure what the boundaries are, if that is citywide necessarily, because I think less students are living in the U district now because of rental prices. But anyway, there are options out there. I think a lot of times it's just helping people connect the dots. Ms. Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I remember having a presentation from, it wasn't CPDI at the time, but 2 winters ago, we had a pretty significant amount of snowfall. And when this came up, I think getting ahead of it, they did some education to us on council. And I think it might have been, prior, a couple of years ago. And what I remember, because I had some of the same concerns, obviously wanting to look out for our elderly neighbors and disabled neighbors and make sure that they're not being punished for things that are somewhat outside of their control. And what they really went through was all of the various steps and community resources that they go through to connect people with those resources, to make sure that this isn't meant to be punishing for those folks. This is meant to basically make sure that absentee landlords, and it does seem, if you kind of watch throughout the years, there seems to be some habitual offenders who just don't care, happy to pay the fine, do whatever. But I was really impressed by all the steps that they do take, and how there has been cases where staff have gone out and shoveled for somebody who just was low income, disabled, wasn't able to do it, and this was not meant to be a punishment for them. So really appreciated that presentation from them and that education. So it made me feel more comfortable supporting this, because it really is, by the time it gets all the way to this point where it's been assessed, it really should not fall on the broader taxpayers to have to pay this. It really should be assessed back to the homeowners themselves. So thanks so much.
Thank you. I am looking for a motion so that we can get Marty back to all of the other things she has to do. Ms. Anderson.
I am happy to make the recommended motion.
Thank you for that. I'll call for public comment, and there is no one in attendance for public comment. And Ms. Vasita.
Will we be voting on them separately? Because I have different votes for each for different ones. Okay.
We can call for a yes. So I will take that motion as separating the two motions out. That's fine. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, Lisa, if we could do 2 roll call votes on the individual items.
All right, so this one is for the hazardous vegetation. Did you want me to read the motion, or is that sufficient information?
I think that's sufficient.
Okay, Stacey Anderson.
Yes.
Heather Harp,
Yes.
Jordan Hess,
Yes.
Gwen Jones,
Yes.
Julie Merritt,
Yes.
and Sandra Vazika.
No.
So that for the members present is 5 yeses and 1 no.
Okay, and are you fine with that going on the consent agenda, Sandy?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, thank you.
All right, and I'll get the other. And the second, so will Stacy be making the motion for this one also?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Stacy Anderson, and this is for the snow removal.
Correct. Yes, thanks so much. I will be voting yes.
Heather Harp,
Yes.
Jordan Hess,
Yes.
Gwen Jones,
Yes.
Julie Merritt,
Yes.
Sandra Vazika.
Yes.
So that's unanimous for everyone in attendance.
Great, that can go on the consent agenda, noting that we did not have a quorum. And Sandy, did you have another comment?
I was just gonna say I'll explain my votes when I have a babysitter on Monday.
Okay, got it. Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Marty. I think we're good to go here. The next item on our agenda is the resolution to authorize lease and approval of lease contract with Learning with Meaning. And I believe that Jessica Miller is here to present on this. Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning. Jessica Miller with the Mayor's Office, Citizen Services Manager over here. So we, as I think everybody knows, we do own the old library building, and we have we've leased it out to a couple of different.
Oops, I think Sandra, I think you need to mute. Sorry. Okay, sorry, Jessica. There we go. Thanks.
Sorry about that.
Hold back.
So we have the old library building, and we have leased it out to a couple of different groups in the past. We do have Sheck still having some meeting space over there. We are using the site for short-term leases until the long-term planning and redevelopment of that site occur. Parks and Recreation is currently using a portion of the building for their base camp. And then we also have, so this lease today is for Learning with Meaning, excuse me. They are an educational program for children and adults. They have multiple educational opportunities, some for homeschoolers, some for independent students, and a maker space for adults as well. They are looking to use the library building as they build their new facility, and they need office space and classroom space for the school year. The lease terms, we're charging them $4,000 a month, which includes $1,000 to be applied to the utilities. They'll be leasing about 3,000 square feet. The term is from September 1st through June 30th, again for that school year, and Zill Estate will continue to manage the property as they have. Last summer in 2020, we had them come in, and they were the successful respondent to our RFP to have property management. So that continues under their contract. And so the motion we're looking for today is to approve the resolution allowing us to lease that space, as well as authorize the mayor to sign the actual lease agreement. And because this is a lease, it will require a 2/3 approval from 2/3 of all city council for that approval.
Thank you. Julie Merritt.
Procedural question, I guess, to begin with. So 2/3 of the vote would be on Monday night. We don't need 2/3 vote today, do we?
Correct.
Okay, good, because we're not getting it. But I would be happy to make the recommended motion.
Great, thank you. Heather Harp.
Thanks, Gwen. I think this is a great use of the library space, and it's helping some small communities that really would benefit from access to our public library. So I'm all in favor of this motion. Thanks for putting it on the floor, Julie.
Great, thank you. Let me see if there's any public comment. Looks like we have no one in attendance for public comment. I don't see any other questions. I will just add, for anyone listening in, just as some background, when the new library building was proposed, there was a land swap between this block and the block that the new library was on. And then within a matter of months after that, the old library block was gifted to the city. So this is a wonderful resource that we have. There will be a planning process. I think we kind of hit pause on that because of the pandemic and wanting to really have a lot of public participation in envisioning the redevelopment of the old library block, because it will, as with the new library, it will be a cornerstone for the downtown and has huge potential for all sorts of great things that can go in there. So the planning process will be coming. I'm not sure when that is kicking off, but that is in the works for in the future. And I don't know, Jessica, do you have any idea what the time frame is on the planning process for the old library block?
So we're hoping to be able to get started on that this winter, so early 2022 to start having those discussions. Yeah.
Great, thank you. In the meantime, we've got numerous different renters in there and we're doing base camp and all sorts of great stuff. All righty, well, thank you. We will have a roll call vote.
All right. Stacy Anderson. You're on mute. Am I on mute? Oh.
Yep.
Stacy, I think you're muted. Well, we'll come back to Stacy. Heather Hart.
Yes.
Jordan Hess.
Yes.
Gwen Jones.
Yes.
Julie Merritt.
Yes.
Sandra Visica.
Yes.
And Stacy Anderson.
She must have stepped away. So we have five.
5 yeses and 1.
We're having a poor showing today, but oh well, all good. So we do not have a quorum, but I believe procedurally this can go onto the consent agenda, noting that we did not have a quorum, and in any event, the threshold for Monday night is 2/3 of full council, correct? Jessica? Okay.
Yes.
All righty, very good. Thank you very much. And I think we are done with our agenda, so we will stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.